Hey everyone, welcome back, AI enthusiast. I'm your host, Adima Zoncario, product design and AI expert, and the creator of Unlocking the Power of Generative AI program. And today, we're exploring the exciting world of generative AI and how it can be strategically integrated into your product roadmap. Joining us is a visionary AI entrepreneur and product leader with a proven track records of success. We'll be discussing the key considerations, challenges, and best practices for incorporating generative AI into your product strategy. Get ready for actionable insights and expert advice. Hey, Yuval, how are you?
Eddie,
I'm so happy that you're here. Yuval Machlin is an entrepreneur, AI advisor, and the former CPO at DID. And I'm very happy that he's with me here. I've talked to him in the past, and I know that he has a lot to share with us. We're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, and you're so invited to join the discussion and ask questions. And now we can start. What are the key factors product leaders should consider when evaluating whether generative AI is a good fit for their product roadmap?
thanks for the question. Many actually, I believe that this is a great opportunity to rethink about the paradigms that we had before. The AI, the Gen AI especially, is revolutionary. So it's a good opportunity to think again about why we exist, who we serve, and what are their needs. And even if something is not thought to be relevant or even possible using tech, these days it can probably a good opportunity to think about it again. We have opportunity to build new things that we could never done before, and to make things that we thought that we solve already much better.
I think that this is like a buzzword, and everybody say, yeah, we need AI, we need generative AI, we need it, but they are not sure about what is the right use case, would our users really need it and pay for it even, and
Mhm.
more than that, they are not sure how to take this new type of technology and integrate it into their product roadmap because it's a bit a different way of doing things than regular coding, right?
Of course, yeah. So as a product person, I care a lot about how things are being implemented, but I care more about the use cases and the needs of my clients, right? So consider generative AI as a new tool that can make better, or they can solve things better for your clients in a more natural way. So, like, imagine that you have the ability to be present for your clients within the technology, sort of speaking. Like, you add more human capabilities, analyzing vast amount of text and making it more accessible using conversation mode, for example, or letting your clients make changes in images without the need to be like an expert in this field. So those are the capabilities. But the question, as you ask, is okay, how is it even relevant for my clients? So always start with that, and then the buzzword will become more clear because it is a buzzword. But
Yeah.
the essence is what can I do with it for my clients?
Yeah, because right now I think that most people, when they think about generative AI, okay, we'd add this kind of a chatbot somewhere related to something within our program. Let's say we need support, we need someone to, I know, to analyze the data and then say something, and I could talk to about the data that is shown in reports or whatever. We would just add that. And most of the cases, because maybe it's just the beginning of what generative AI could be, but it's okay, we'll add a chatbot, which
Mhm.
is I think it's like lowering all the capabilities into, yeah, let's just add text. Maybe it's the easiest way to do, but it's not always the right thing your clients really need.
Right. And then the question is, okay, so a chatbot might be a nice place to start the thinking journey, by the way, not necessarily the adding it to the product. So if you want to add a chatbot, and this is something that might be low-hanging fruit, think what your client can do with it. What questions do they have about reports that you already provide them? You can ask them. You know your client, so you've been in meetings with your clients, and you know what they ask you, and what you could um, provide them using the current report. But maybe you can add more capabilities. For example, you have data of a current report. Your clients might want to compare it to the previous one. So maybe you build the tech to allow it, but now with generative AI, it can be more simple to enhance it and to make more changes that maybe wouldn't be even possible in the past, or would take you a lot of time and will cost them a lot of money, and it wouldn't be generic enough.
Yeah. Another thing that is important to say that if you're planning to create something that is very simple, sometimes you don't even need generative AI news. You create a chatbot that is good enough, and maybe it's not worth the effort.
Yeah.
So just understand if it's something that is very fluent in your integration into your client's workflow. How can product teams identify specific use cases and opportunity for generative AI within their existing product or service?
Yeah. So again, go back to the basics. Look on the use cases that you define for your audience, and then think how can it be improved using those new opportunities, and think also about how your customers, how your persona define themselves, and find opportunities over there. So go back to the basics of product, define the use cases, and then say to yourself, okay, this use case, wow, I can solve it now with this new tools or family of tools that they have.
Yeah, and another good opportunity would be currently we have lots of questions for the account manager, for the support, for someone who's working with the end clients. And some of these questions are recurring and important for our clients. Maybe we could solve it with using these technologies.
Yeah, and I would also look on how our clients define themselves. Sometimes you will find it on the role description. Sometimes you will find it on the hiring description. So when your clients are hiring for a position, it's a good opportunity to see how they define the goals of this role, or what they're expected to do. So this is also a good hint for new use cases that maybe we couldn't even believe that we can solve it before.
Yeah, what you're saying that your client has needs and you don't need to take all the information from within your product, but you really understand what the clients need. And maybe by hiring people, they are looking for a solution for a problem that they already have. And then you
Yes,
understand them further. Uh,
exactly.
that, that's something that I didn't think about. I always think about like talking to them and maybe taking the information from the product, quantitative, qualitative. I didn't think about really understanding the clients from other aspects. What you're saying is something that is new to me. What are the key technical challenges involving integrating generative AI and how can they overcome
Yeah,
them?
of course. So first of all, you need to have data, relevant data, so the models will be able to be trained on it, and will be able to provide you the solution. Privacy is of course important, so I wouldn't use the public, the consumer grade models. You can use the enterprise grade models, or models that keep the privacy for you. And the challenges are more about making sure that this first, let's go back to the use case. So if the use case requires or can make a benefit out of Gen AI model, then think if you already have the data that can support it. If it's only theoretical, build a roadmap that will help you to gain the data. And then you can make the estimation, is it worth the effort or not? What are the chances that you will get into the right data in a reasonable amount of time?
Yeah, what you said about the privacy is important because in thinking about building these solutions, you could either have like an open source, and
Mhm.
then you need to have all the privacy within the cloud services and the model itself. And if you're using a third party, let's say it's Claude or OpenAI or Gemini or whatever, they have these capacities within the product. So maybe it's better to start with them, at least at the beginning.
Yes, yes, but also they have privacy settings that you can avoid them for taking your data into their training model. So they already thought about it. It is already in production. It works pretty well.
I see. So another thing that is important for companies that their data would not be used in order to make the model better, and maybe in that case, your competitors could use your information, not even like the information itself, but your understanding of your clients, and then the model is getting better on your data actually. So you want it to be only yours.
Yeah.
And another thing is all the things related to compliance and bias and ethical considerations that
Mhm.
might, in some cases, be better when you're using these kinds of services, right? Uh,
Yes.
but we could say that you have less control over what's going on when you're using it,
Yes, but
right?
but this is why they introduced those enterprise grade services, so you can trust this, and it's already proven, and it already working with top companies. So this is I think this is the best way.
And when you're thinking, would you take a low-hanging fruit at the beginning just to get to know to this technology and how to use it? Or you would say, okay, you need to really identify the need, which takes longer.
Yeah, so I mean, I would advise any product or any entrepreneur that would like to, first of all, learn what's out there, and learning is only by trying. I mean, learn by listening, of course, and watching videos, and including this podcast, but also try for yourself. Communicate with the tools. Like if you think that you want to have a conversation experience for your clients, make a conversation with Gen AI tool. Make it a long one. Have a goal in mind and try and see if you can reach it. If it's about visual models, use existing tools. Make yourself knowledgeable about what's out there, and then in combine with the use cases that you analyzed before. Uh, Probably you will make a better judgment with that after you know the capabilities. And remember that it always advanced. I mean, it always progressing over the time.
Yeah. And let's go back to the data. Let's say I know that I have lots of data from my end customers and clients, and I
Mhm.
want to utilize this kind of data. Would you tell me, okay, just start with the regular prompt engineering, add more and more requests, and then add the data? Would you tell, okay, just start with some kind of a RAG service? What would be the best way to get the result that is relevant for my data and not like a general?
Yeah.
Um,
So there are many different opinions on that, and many ways to achieve that. What I usually do, I define an MVP as I mean, this is my approach for almost everything. I define, okay, so what's the most important thing I would like to test? What's the minimum achievable requirement that I can reach, and then I go backwards. So if I know that there is a good chance that I will have the data, then maybe I will build like a try, and then I will see how it reacts. You don't need to train an entire model on an entire data set of a company in order to try and get the feeling of how it works. And then you can set the goals for the next milestone, and then you can expand it more and more and more. But I wouldn't start with like getting all of the data set ready and then run the model of it. And then, I mean, I don't think that this is a good approach for a company. If you're building models, if you're building the Gen AI tech itself, and I am also working with companies like that, then it's a different story, then because you're building the tech itself. But when you want to use the tech for your clients, I would go with the MVP approach.
Yeah. We just mentioned that you're a former CPO at DID and they created their own models. I think that their latest feature is an agent you could talk to
Right.
in simple language, in voice, and
Mhm.
get answers from it. Could you tell us more about like creating these kinds of models. Most of the listeners would not do that, but it's interesting to know what is the process there.
So first of all, as a user, by the way, I highly recommend going to the ID and try the agents. I think it's an amazing experience, and it
Right,
involves many different Gen AI models. You have the DID model, which they are experts in animating faces, making a photorealistic digital avatars from your picture, from a single picture. So this is one. And then you have the voice, synthetic voice models. Even you can clone your own voice. And you can also have the ability to make a conversation with this digital avatar.
right.
So, yeah, it's a combination of many Gen AI models all together. And it gives you a very nice experience of making a conversation in real time with your own voice with an avatar.
Yeah, I think that like a few weeks back, I saw a representative of Ukraine created. I don't know if it's from the DID. I know if you saw it, and she's like representing for PR and questions from the outside politics representative to represent Ukraine, and it was really interesting to see the way
Mhm.
that she talks and she gave this short speech in the video that I saw, but it would be really interesting just to talk to this kind of person.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I'm not sure that I saw this specific one, but yeah, I mean, I know this, of course.
Mhm.
It's a phenomena. I think we will see more and more like that. By the way, behind the scenes, there are also a moderation AI to make sure that the digital avatar doesn't speak something that they are not supposed to, something that maybe they don't know. And also, when you ask them questions, you want to make sure, or when you make a conversation, we want to make sure that you're not using like bad language, and then so also additional
Yeah,
aspects.
it's additional tools. Do you think that in the future, everyone, like every business, would have these kinds of agents, avatars speaking in their name?
Yes, but I would like to look at it as like a additional workforce extension of ourselves. So, I can speak English, I can speak Hebrew, I cannot speak Japanese. But why wouldn't I? I mean, why wouldn't my digital persona, maybe even in real time, can speak Japanese right now in a click of a button? This future is not that far away. If you want to make presentations, use your own avatar speaking in Japanese, it is already there. It's already there.
Right.
The real time aspect is coming.
Yeah. Do you think that we're far away from creating someone who is very close to presenting me? Let's say that right now I have this face, I have this voice, that's nice, but could someone have my character? Like this avatar could understand the way that I understand the world? Is it close to there?
Well, all of the components are there. And in order to make it publicly available, companies are working very, very hard to make sure that people will not make an abuse out of it, because it can happen. It already happens. So technology is there, product-wise, components are there, but we want to make sure that it's safe before we introduce it to the world.
Yeah. And another thing, as I see it, is the level of details you could have. Because,
Mhm.
for example, if I want to talk to, I know, to Steve Jobs and ask him as a mentor for my startup, so I could talk to this avatar and it will look like Steve Jobs and it would have the same voice and
Yeah,
even the gestures with the hands. And maybe some of the quotes within his books would be expressed, right? And then and
yeah,
another thing which is very important, I never talked to him, so I don't know what's the real thing, right?
yeah.
But do you think that the experience from our side as the users would be that different than talking to a real person?
It's a bit philosophical question. I mean, in reality, if you're going to talk with Steve Jobs, you never met him probably, then you would probably feel very like you're making a conversation with this person. Yes, yeah,
I
it
see.
will
So,
be very hard to tell the difference. But as tech people, we have the responsibility to make sure that you know that it's not the real person.
right. So, how can product teams measure the success and impact of generative AI features within their products?
Yeah, so KPIs are going to be the same as before, right? I mean, you want your users to be engaged with the content, you want them to be happy with that, and you can measure that the traditional way. So as you add any feature, you always have the benchmark, and you can make a comparison between the results. So this is what I advise, and this is what I do. So generative AI is a tool. It's a very very powerful one, but the goal is the user goal, the business goal. It's not using the generative AI. This is not the goal. This is the mean.
Right. Right. But I think that in some cases within this technology, because it's so young,
Hmm.
the platforms that would make it easy for you to measure the success is not are not there yet, because you need to do some of the things manually. You don't
Hmm.
know exactly if this image was selected because of this or that. If you created a few versions, why it with a specific version was selected. Do you really know if it's selected? Maybe it will download everything and you don't know what's the end usage. And another thing, why did he create another prompt, another request? Maybe
Yeah.
it's not what he wanted, and maybe he wanted to do something very specific that we don't really understand. And it's even harder maybe in text because you get very, very long text. How do you know exactly how to measure if they're content or not?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. So this is like the measurement about tools that you created by Gen AI. How to make it better. But the general notion is I created a way to solve a pain, and I can compare it to the past. And I agree with you. It's two different things. And what you mentioned is about the analytics for the generative AI. Yeah, it's still in the early beginning and early days, and it will be improved as well.
Yeah, it's not only for a generative AI tool, it could be powered by generative AI. And still,
Yeah.
how do I measure the input, the output,
Mhm.
what was going on? And even more than that, if I want to influence and I'm not sure that the input or the output is exactly as I wanted it, you just mentioned if they speak in a certain way or they get answers in a certain way, how to really tune the right way in order to get exactly the type of conversations and inputs that you're looking for.
Yeah, and there are also tools that generative AI companies provide for you to make sure that you have better experience. The prompt engineering that we started to talk about, I think a year ago. Now there are companies that bake it into their model. So you ask a question, and then the model itself, they know how to behind the scene to enrich your prompt, so you get better result according to
Saw that
the.
in Claude. They have a new tool.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, I saw that, and it's really interesting because it's like you expect that they would have this information in the backend, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
actually, it created a prompt that would enrich the right answer that you would get from the model in that case.
Yeah, and
And
GPT also added the memory mode, so they know the
this
context.
is I didn't see this one. What is the memory mode?
GPT added a mode that they learn about you along the way, and they can have the context. So if I always ask a question as entrepreneur or as a product person, or I'm asking about information or making discussions around the product strategy, then GPT now they have the mode that they remember that. So the next
Mm.
time I ask question, they already have the context.
Oh, that really makes sense. It
Yeah.
reminds me of a tool called Jasper. They're
Mhm.
writing copywriting for marketing and all of that. And I went to see exactly what they offer. And one of the things that they did is they asked their request related to marketing, like write me a post. I don't remember exactly. And then they got an answer. and they wanted it to be more precise, more rich. So they asked for the AI to give it's like a better prompt, but what are the specific needs, requirements for this kind of prompt? And
Hmm.
they added the requirements into the prompt,
Yeah.
which doesn't make sense. This is an AI tool. I don't need to tell you how to write a prompt. You need to be like educated about it as a model. I don't need to tell you how to write a prompt for, I know, for LinkedIn or for Instagram. I know it does make sense.
Mhm. Yeah. So
And
they
this
added.
is the that they use for a promotional video. I don't know, something like that,
Mhm.
which is very surprising for me. I was very surprised that this is what they but when you're thinking about it, we're sometimes thinking that the models are more sophisticated and smart than what we know, because the experience is so human-like that we imagine that they know everything. Like the models are perfect in everything.
Yeah, but they also need us to guide them, right? So this is the guidance. This is the guidance, and we as experts or as people that learn subject, we have a context that goes with us for years. The models they have some of it, but if you want to make it like to your specific need, you need to provide this context. So what they did, as you described, this is a good method to build the context for the model to help you.
Yeah. Do you think that we will not need prompt engineering in a year or two? Or will it be still like
It's a
that?
skill. It's a skill, but I look at it more like as get used to how to work with this technology. So prompt engineering sometimes is about like make it more efficient. I have one opportunity to ask a question for the model, and then let's see how can I do it. I look at it a bit different way, and I think that this is the way that people will adopt after they get more familiar with this technology. I look at it as okay, I have another expert on my team that I can communicate with and get their assistant, right? So I don't need to ask the entire question from the beginning. I can assume that they have the context, and this is what we talked about right now. And now, based on the assumption that they have the context, now I can ask them questions and make an intelligent conversation. So it's less about the exact prompt; it's more about how you communicate with this assistant. Okay, with
Yeah.
this another team member on your
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, it's the context of the discussion. Or at the beginning, I asked you to be a copywriter. You're still a copywriter in the fourth question. You're not like a different type of persona right now. So
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. And what are some best practices for communicating the value and benefits of generative AI to users and stakeholders?
So, I mean, we said before that first we need to make ourselves knowledgeable about what out there, and then get the idea of how we can improve our services or products to our clients. So when you communicate internally in the company to stakeholders or even to clients afterwards, you can help them also get to the knowledge that you have with the examples that you decided that are more relevant for them. So you don't need to develop the product before that. You just need to take the things that you found helpful and present it in a very clear way that people can have their own experience with it and build a story around it. Tell them, okay, so until today we did this and that like that, and now we have the opportunity to make this, and then let them try it for themselves. I
Yeah,
found it the most efficient way, but also the best way to convey the experience.
yeah. And I think that some of the end users, the customers, they love writing. If let's say, I know, GitHub Copilot, it's like working with the end customer is coders. They love to write. This is what they're doing all day. But in some cases, when you're doing a product for, I know, HR, for just an example, not anything, there is nothing against HR people. They are not used to writing these kinds of long texts explaining exactly what they want. And for them, it could be sometimes even a burden to write all of that.
I'm
And
not
you
sure.
didn't
I'm not sure, because like it's a human thing to talk with each
talk,
other.
yeah,
Also
talk.
to write. We write messages all day with our colleagues
Mhm.
and friends, right, and family, and
Yeah,
also notes to ourselves. We just need to understand now that we have another persona, another entity that we can communicate with, and we don't need to be exact. And this is also relating to your previous question. We don't need to be 100% accurate about the prompt, about what we write or say, because the AI knows how to understand, and also will be able very, very soon, if not already, to ask us clarification questions. This is
right.
part of the advancement that we see now.
Yeah. We started talking about the roadmap. So let's say I have a product right now and I want to integrate generative AI and already know the use case.
Mhm.
How do I change the roadmap or maybe the team? Maybe I need someone else in the team in order to get there and to get something outside.
So it's a prioritization question actually, and with priorities, I always put the impact versus the level of effort, and this is like the formula. And if you decided that this is like the most impactful thing to do right now, and the level of effort is worth it, add it to the backlog, and then it will become part of your day-to-day plan. So I think that what I'm saying right now is that you don't need to build a new roadmap for that. You need to make it part of your decision-making process that you already have, and it will come in the right way according to your already proved processes.
And do you think that I need someone else if I want to incorporate this kind of technology? Maybe someone from data, someone from
Yeah.
data science, whatever.
Yes, yes. The engineering team would need to build these capabilities. Sometimes they would need to hire a new person with new expertise. Sometimes, and maybe naturally, they would like to make themselves the current team learning this new capabilities. But this is something that we talk with the teams together, and then we decide if we need to hire a consultant, for example, if we need to hire a new team member, or if we need to send someone to make a training, and that's up to the team, up to the specifics of the solution we want to have.
Yeah. Do you think that more and more software developers would be encouraged and would like to have these kinds of capacities to understand generative AI capabilities too?
Yeah, because I think it's a very natural thing. People are curious and they learn new things anyways, and this is the probably not only the most training subject it is, but also a very, very functional, and it's very productive to learn these areas. It's not just an incremental addition to what you can do. It's a leap. It's a huge leap. Maybe 10 times better than what we could do before. Maybe things that, as I said before, we couldn't even believe that we can do now. So yeah.
And do you think that we would need less developers because we have these capacities? We don't need the juniors because the co-pilot is helping us.
Not
We
necessarily. I
need
think that
less.
junior definition will be different.
Mhm.
I don't think that we will need less trained people to build products. I think even the opposite will be true, because we will have more opportunities to serve, to actually help people do their job or achieve their goals using technology. The technology is changing, but the need of people to be able to make products out of it, I don't think it will be less than it is now.
Hmm.
It will
So
be more.
you need what? Why do you think it will be more? That's intriguing for me. Why do you think it will be more? Because if right now I'm writing a certain amount of code, let's say a certain amount of lines of code for a
Mhm.
day, and now I'm doing like double of it, double the amount of code.
But the
So
entire
why do you?
ecosystem will change. The entire definition of what a junior developer is will change. What an expert developer, the entire definition will change. I don't know to what, by the way, not yet. I mean, we don't know
Yeah,
because the
yeah.
technology is changing. But the need of people to be able to take this tech and make something useful for all of us is still there. Some people say that, okay, the AI will know to learn what I want and then will build products for me. Might be, yeah, but it still opens endless opportunities to improve more and more things. And the nice thing is that there is never an end for that. So anything that is now we think it's like this is the highest level of possibility to build something. It's not the case. Look at the history. We used to live in houses that are totally different than what we have today.
Right.
But still, we improve the way that we live every
Yeah.
decade.
And we're working even more, although we have all these devices and we're working more. So
Yeah,
that's one thing. Do you think a product person should change in order to understand more data, in order to understand these kind of devices?
I think it's a skill that some of us needs to. I mean, we need to learn. We need to be aware of it. But the essence of the definition of what product is, I think it's not going to change. It's a way to help people or get their goals done using technology.
Yeah. So you don't see it like right now there are like product people, and and when we have these types of technologies more and more within the product aim and goal will not change. Maybe they would need to understand more about the technology, but it will not change the way that they're doing what they're doing.
We will surely need to understand what the technology can do, not necessarily how it does it, but we want to be able to solve the problems for our clients better. So we must understand what are the capabilities and what we can do with it, and what is the trajectory of it. I mean, where everything is going. But and that's the essence. Yeah, this will
Yeah.
not change.
Could you share some examples of successful product integrations of generative AI?
Yeah, so first of all, we talked about the agents by the idea. I think this is an amazing product, and it kind of encapsulates a lot of different models altogether. So this is one. And the second one is the Acrobat, the Adobe Firefly. I think
Mm,
it's an amazing way to see how this Gen AI capabilities can improve your day-to-day work. I mean, the Adobe family of products is amazing already, but think about it 2 years ago and think about it what you can do with it now. I think they did something really, really productive and nice.
yeah, yeah, I totally agree. By the way, with the agents of the idea, I started just playing around with it. It's a very, very new feature. If I'm not mistaken, only like a few months old, right?
Yeah, maybe even less. Mhm.
Yeah, but I guess the basics and the essence of what it does was built a few years back. So it's not like, yeah, we started like a few months and then we integrated everything and now it's like live. The thought about the capability beginning with the avatar, but afterwards with the voice and the gestures and the information that you're basing the context on is built one based on the other, right?
Yes, and you see a lot of like advancement, which is it's not linear. It's not linear. I mean, you know what? Let's take, for example, the synthetic voice example, which is
Yeah.
one element of it. So if you look back like 5 years ago, you would think maybe about Amazon Poly or Microsoft Azure, and the voices there are pretty good for the time, of course, the best of class at this time, but it's not human. It doesn't sound human. And then 2 years after, the synthetic voices are much more, they have the ability to pronounce better and to have better intonations. And if you look like a year ago, to clone your voice would take you 10 hours going to a professional studio with professional mic and a silence room, and only after that, 2 weeks after manual work of modelist, you would get your voice cloned. Pretty nice, okay. But then if you would send the voice sample to your friend, they would recognize that it's not really you, or it sounds like you.
Yeah.
Today with like less than 2 minutes sample of your voice in any language, in English, but you can get your voice cloned in almost any language,
Right,
and it's an amazing, amazing advancement.
right.
I'm not sure that we would even thought about it 5 years ago, that it
Yeah.
would be available right now. So the
So
advancement is
fast
not
and so exact.
the
Yeah.
advancement is not linear. You see, you have the vision, and then you have like breakthroughs, and then you can combine it together.
Yeah, about the voice, there is a website. You could have like famous people voices. It's not like people, it could be a character, like SpongeBob or whatever.
Mhm.
And you could write a sentence and you get like a short clip. It's only voice at the stage of someone saying something. And it's not only the voice, it's the way that they speak, right? It's not
Yeah,
only the way that it sounds, and it's amazing. And it's really funny because the kids are sending each other phrases and that LeBron said this and Squidward said that or so whatever, and it's amazing how many tools could you find with these capacities that are just amazing. Just thinking about it, it's like wow, they could do so much. And with the agent, like the idea, there is what's the name? Synthesia? What's the name of the competitor?
they have synthesia. Yeah.
Something like that.
Mhm.
They're doing something very very similar. It looks really like a real person that would say something, and you could just
The,
imagine all
the
the
entire field,
capacities
the
you could
entire
have.
field is amazing. The advancement is amazing. They have now expressive faces, not just the generic ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could have your own face. You could decide what is the face. In the beginning,
Yes.
you had these like templates you could select from. Now you could add your own photo, and then it will be just you.
Yeah.
And looking ahead, what are the future trends and opportunities for generative AI and product development?
So I think that, and this is something that the ID is leading now. I think that the entire user interface of products is going to be changed. So today we are more UI driven. You go into a website, and let's say you want to book a flight. Okay, so you go to a flight booking site, and then their goal is that you will make a booking, right? So this
Sure.
is why the UX is aligned with this goal. But then let's say that you want to have different use case. You already have your ticket. You want to change it right now. So they have separate lanes for that. But if I could just ask a question and tell the app, tell the app AI representative, hey, I want to do this and that. And then there is a personalized agent that will talk with me and guide me through the process using UI, using the screens, the relevant screens. I think that this is the future. The entire way of how we communicate with tech will change.
Yeah. I think that this is a very important different use cases, because when we have a variety of cases, in that case, it's like it could be a flight, it could be a car, it could be an hotel,
Mhm.
and I want to, or it could be e-commerce. I want to buy a hat. It doesn't matter. I want to see all the possibilities in front of me. When I see something, I see all the possibilities, and I can select everything. When you're talking, it's sequential. You need to understand each other, and then it takes more time. When you want something very specific and not the variety, it makes lots of sense to do it like this is what I want. I don't want to have all the possibilities in front of me, and I don't need anything visual because I already selected. And then doing these additional requests, you don't need to look for anything. You just need to
And
get
this,
the result.
exactly, and this is the natural way. Think about how when you go to a physical shop, for example, you know what you want, or you have the idea of what you want, and you can talk with an expert there and ask questions, or they can guide you with their questions. So the same would be with the digital. We just didn't do it until now, but now
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that are surely one of the main capabilities and goals of this technology is the personalization, getting a specific answer to your needs, and even a different type of experience or different type of a customer care representative that would be better for you and would give you exactly what you need based on your history.
Yeah, based on your current the context, your current need, you can ask questions about information that you don't have, and the expert on the other side, they can provide it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it could be even more than that if it's a psychiatrist or a doctor or insurance agent that understand my own history and could give me a better solution faster than, let's say, a caregiver that is not aware about all my history and what I took and what my medicine were, or whatever. It will take them very, very long. Maybe most of the meeting, they would just read what has been done with me in the past. So
Yes, so here there will be co-pilots. It will help the human expert, because the care use cases are more like sensitive, I guess. But yeah, I mean, in the next level, they will be able to make the decisions autonomously.
yeah. Wow, it's been a very insightful talk. I have my last question right now. What is your number one tip for entrepreneurs today?
So number one tip, I think we already talked a bit about that. It's like Gen AI or AI itself. This is not the goal. So think of your client first and start with why, what they want to achieve, and after you realize that, you will find the right way to use the AI or not.
And do you think being an entrepreneur in this stage, which is so fast changing, even faster than usual, does
Mhm.
it demand something else from an entrepreneur?
No, but I think that it make it more crystal clear that things are changing, and you need to continue to be curious. You need to continue to be knowledgeable about what the opportunity is there, and you need to be more sharp about how you're going to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Where could
It's new
people,
times. Mhm.
what?
Super exciting times.
Yeah, I just, each time I talk to someone, I have this kind of talk at least once a week, and I always have a few startups ideas coming
Mhm.
out of each of these talk, and it's a very exciting time to be an entrepreneur and to be in technology in general. But it's like being excited and being anxious is like two very close feelings sometimes emotionally for both someone like me, which is not an entrepreneur, just from technology, or someone who's really building something from scratch, is like, wow, think about all these um, exciting futures that could be, for sure. Where could people meet you and hear more about your work?
You can look at my LinkedIn, Yuval Machlin, and send me a note. I'll be happy to make a conversation.
Wow. Thank you, Val, for your time. It's been a very interesting talk. Thanks.
Thank you.
And to all of you changemakers out there, thank you for joining us. I invite you to sign up to my new online executive program, Unlocking the Future of Generative AI, designed to equip leaders with the skills and in order to build successful generative AI products. I'll see you next week with another innovative, insightful talk. See ya.